types of women always cheat on their men? Did you know that 60% of women with these 5 surprising traits are more likely to cheat? Listen, today I'm revealing the hidden signs that could save your relationship. Trust me, you won't see this coming. Stick around. This might just change how you see things forever. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we're tackling a topic that's been on a lot of your minds, the types of women who are more likely to cheat. Now, before we dive into these 5 traits, do me a favor, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. You see, the key to strong relationships is awareness, and we're here to provide just that. Let's jump into it. Number 1, emotional unavailability. Let's start with emotional unavailability. This is a big one. Women who are emotionally unavailable often struggle to form deep, meaningful connections. Now, at first, this might not seem like a red flag. You might think, oh, she's just independent or she's reserved. But the truth is, emotional unavailability often stems from past trauma, fear of vulnerability, or even childhood patterns. You see, when someone is emotionally closed off, they're unable to fully invest in the relationship. And when that emotional investment isn't there, they might start looking for it elsewhere, whether it's through an affair or even just emotional intimacy with another person. Here's an example. Have you ever been in a conversation where you're pouring your heart out and the other person responds with indifference or changes the subject? That's emotional unavailability in action. Over time, this creates a gap in the relationship. And when there's a gap, infidelity often sneaks in to fill it. So what can you do? Well, the first step is recognizing the signs. Avoidance of deep conversations, reluctance to show vulnerability, or even making excuses to dodge meaningful moments. If you notice these behaviors, don't ignore them. Start with open communication, but remember, you can't force someone to change. They need to want to address their emotional barriers. Number 2, history of unstable relationships. Next up is a history of unstable relationships. As a matter of fact, patterns from the past often predict behavior in the future. If a woman has a long history of short-term relationships or breakups, it's worth examining why. You see, relationships require time, effort, and emotional energy to thrive. If someone keeps jumping from one relationship to another without much reflection in between, it could indicate a deeper issue, maybe a fear of commitment, a resistance to stability, or even a lack of self-awareness. Let's break this down further. Imagine someone who's had 5 relationships in 2 years. Each time they describe their ex as crazy or toxic. While that might be true in some cases, it's also a pattern. When tough times arise, instead of working through the issues, they may choose to leave or cheat as a way of avoiding the discomfort of conflict or self-growth. What should you do if you notice this? Listen to how they talk about their past relationships. If it's always the other person's fault, that's a red flag. Relationships are partnerships, and growth only happens when both parties take accountability. So, have a conversation about these patterns and see if there's a willingness to break them. Number 3, need for constant attention. Let's talk about the need for constant attention. Now, we all like to feel appreciated, that's human nature. But there's a difference between enjoying compliments and thriving on constant validation. Women who seek attention from everyone might struggle with maintaining loyalty in a relationship. Here's how it plays out. Imagine you're at a party and your partner is more focused on impressing others than connecting with you. Or maybe she's always on social media, posting pictures and counting likes. When attention becomes the driving force behind their actions, it can create cracks in the relationship. The danger here is that if you can't provide the level of attention she craves, because life happens, right? she might start seeking it elsewhere. It might start innocently, like texting someone for compliments, but it can escalate into something much more damaging. So, what can you do? The key is balance. Pay attention to her needs, but don't let it consume you. And most importantly, encourage her to find validation within herself, rather than relying on others. A strong relationship isn't about one partner constantly boosting the other. It's about mutual respect and self-assuredness. Number 4. Thrill-seeking behavior. Now on to thrill-seeking behavior. Let me paint you a picture. She's always chasing the next big thing, whether it's skydiving, traveling to remote destinations, or even taking risks in her personal life. While this adventurous spirit can be exciting, it can also come with challenges in a committed relationship. You see, thrill seekers often live for the rush of adrenaline. They're wired to chase novelty and excitement. But when the routine of a long-term relationship sets in, they might start to feel restless. That's when the idea of an affair, something forbidden and risky, can become appealing. Here's the thing. This trait isn't inherently bad. In fact, it can bring a lot of fun and spontaneity to a relationship. But if boundaries aren't clear, it can lead to problems. For example, if she values adventure over stability, she might prioritize fleeting thrills over building a strong foundation with you. So how do you address this? Have open discussions about what excitement means to her. Can you bring that sense of adventure into the relationship? Maybe it's planning surprise trips or taking up a new hobby together. The goal is to channel that energy in a way that strengthens your bond, not undermines it. Number 5. Lack of self-confidence. And finally, let's talk about a lack of self-confidence. Listen, this one's tricky because it's deeply personal. Women who struggle with self-esteem often look for validation outside of themselves. This can sometimes lead to seeking attention or even affection from others. Think about it this way. If someone doesn't feel good about themselves, they might not believe they're worthy of love or commitment. This insecurity can manifest as cheating, not because they don't care about their partner, but because they're trying to fill a void within themselves. For example, she might overanalyze your actions, constantly worry that you're losing interest, or need reassurance daily. When those insecurities aren't addressed, she might turn to someone else for temporary relief, someone who makes her feel attractive or valued in the moment. What's the solution? Building her confidence isn't entirely your job, but you can support her by offering genuine compliments and showing appreciation for her strengths. Encourage her to pursue goals and passions that make her feel empowered. But remember, real confidence has to come from within, so be patient and supportive while she works on herself. So there you have it, 5 traits that could signal a higher likelihood of infidelity. Now, let me emphasize this. Having one or more of these traits doesn't mean someone will cheat. It's all about understanding the patterns and addressing them together as a couple. Relationships thrive on trust, communication, and mutual growth. If you notice these signs, don't jump to conclusions. Instead, open up a dialogue and work through it together. If you found this video insightful, give it a thumbs up and share it with someone who might need to hear this. And hey, I want to hear your thoughts. Drop a comment below about your experiences or questions. Let's keep this conversation going. Until next time, stay aware and take care.